Hello and welcome to our video on 10 Facts Why Women Are Afraid of Insects. While many people may feel a sense of unease or fear around insects, studies have shown that women tend to be more fearful of bugs than men. In this video, we will explore some of the reasons why this might be the case. Fact number 1. Research has suggested that there may be a biological basis for why women tend to be more fearful of insects than men. Studies have shown that women tend to have a more sensitive visual system compared to men, which means that they are better able to detect small, fast-moving objects such as insects. Women also tend to have a greater sensitivity to auditory stimuli, which means that they are more likely to notice the sounds that insects make, such as buzzing or chirping. In addition, research has shown that the amygdala, a region of the brain involved in the processing of fear and anxiety, may be more active in women than in men when exposed to emotionally arousing stimuli such as pictures of spiders or snakes. This suggests that women may have a heightened response to insects due to differences in the way their brains process fear-inducing stimuli. However, it's important to note that biological factors are only one piece of the puzzle when it comes to understanding women's fear of insects. Environmental factors, such as cultural norms and personal experiences, also play a significant role in shaping our attitudes towards bugs. Fact number 2. The cultural stereotype that bugs are dirty or gross can contribute to women's fear of insects through a psychological phenomenon known as disgust sensitivity. Disgust is an innate emotion that evolved to protect us from potential sources of infection or disease. It's a natural response to things that we perceive as unclean or contaminated, such as rotting food or bodily fluids. In our culture, insects are often associated with dirt and decay, which can trigger feelings of disgust in many people. However, research has shown that women tend to be more sensitive to disgust than men, which may be related to their greater concern for hygiene and cleanliness. Studies have found that women are more likely to express disgust in response to a wide range of stimuli, including unpleasant smells, bodily fluids, and unclean environments. This heightened disgust sensitivity may make women more prone to viewing insects as a potential source of contamination or infection, which in turn can lead to feelings of fear or anxiety. Additionally, women may feel pressure to conform to societal expectations of cleanliness and hygiene, which can reinforce the idea that bugs are dirty or gross. This can create a cycle where women's fear of insects is reinforced by cultural stereotypes and social norms, making it even more difficult to overcome. Fact number 3. Lack of exposure to insects may contribute to women's fear of them through a psychological process called habituation. Habituation is the process by which we become desensitized to a stimulus over time as a result of repeated exposure. For example, if you live near a busy street, you may eventually become accustomed to the sound of traffic and no longer notice it as much. However, if women have not had much exposure to insects, they may not have had the opportunity to habituate to them. This means that insects can still elicit a strong fear response, even if they pose no actual threat. In addition, unfamiliarity with insects can make them seem more unpredictable and dangerous, which can further contribute to feelings of fear and anxiety. Research has shown that exposure to insects can help to reduce fear and anxiety over time. In one study, participants were exposed to a variety of insects, including spiders, cockroaches, and ants, over a period of several weeks. By the end of the study, participants reported feeling less anxious and fearful in the presence of insects, suggesting that exposure can be an effective way to overcome insect phobias. However, it's important to note that simply exposing women to insects is not enough to overcome their fear. Exposure should be done in a gradual and controlled manner, and should be accompanied by education about the nature and behavior of insects. This can help to demystify insects and provide a sense of control over the situation, which can in turn reduce feelings of fear and anxiety. Fact number 4. Traumatic experiences with insects can have a profound impact on a person's emotions and behavior. When a woman experiences a negative encounter with an insect, such as being bitten or stung, her brain may form an association between insects and fear or danger. This can lead to a lasting fear of all bugs, even if the specific insect that caused the initial trauma is not present. Research has shown that traumatic experiences can have a long-lasting impact on the brain and behavior. When a person experiences a traumatic event, their brain releases stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones can cause changes in the brain that make it more sensitive to fear and anxiety. In the case of insect phobias, traumatic experiences can create a conditioned fear response in the brain. This means that the brain has learned to associate insects with fear and anxiety, even if there is no actual threat present. This can make it difficult for women to overcome their fear of insects, as the fear response may be triggered automatically, without conscious control. In order to overcome a fear of insects caused by a traumatic experience, it may be necessary to seek professional help. Treatment options may include exposure therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, or medications to help manage anxiety symptoms. It's important to address the underlying trauma and learn coping strategies to manage fear and anxiety in the presence of insects. Fact number 5. Media representations of insects can have a powerful influence on how we perceive and respond to them. Horror movies, sensationalist news stories, and even popular culture portrayals of insects can create a sense of fear and disgust that can be difficult to shake. In many cases, media representations of insects exaggerate their size, speed, and aggression, portraying them as dangerous and creepy creatures. This can trigger feelings of fear and anxiety, even if the person has never had a negative experience with insects before. Research has shown that exposure to media representations of insects can have a significant impact on our emotions and behavior. In one study, participants who watched a horror movie about spiders reported higher levels of fear and anxiety when presented with a live spider, compared to participants who had not watched the movie. Similarly, sensationalist news stories about insect infestations or disease outbreaks can create a sense of panic and fear in the general public. This can reinforce the idea that insects are a threat to our health and safety, further fueling fears and phobias. To overcome a fear of insects caused by media representations, it may be helpful to seek out accurate and balanced information about insects. Learning about the behavior and ecology of different types of insects can help to demystify them and reduce feelings of fear and anxiety. It's also important to be mindful of how media representations may be shaping our perceptions and emotions, and to seek out positive and educational sources of information about insects. Fact number 6. Social learning is a psychological concept that describes how we acquire attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors from those around us. Children, in particular, are highly susceptible to social learning, as they often look to parents, family members, and peers for guidance on how to respond to different stimuli. In the case of insect phobias, women may learn to fear bugs from their mothers or female friends who are also afraid of insects. This can happen through direct instruction, such as a mother telling her daughter that bugs are dangerous or disgusting, or through observation and imitation, such as a child seeing a parent's fear response to an insect and adopting that same response. Research has shown that social learning can have a powerful impact on the development of phobias and fears. Children who have a parent or sibling with a phobia are more likely to develop the same phobia themselves, even if they have not had a negative experience with the feared object. To overcome a fear of insects learned through social learning, it may be helpful to seek out positive role models who are not afraid of bugs. Exposing oneself to someone who has a calm and rational attitude towards insects can help to reduce feelings of fear and anxiety. Additionally, it may be necessary to unlearn some of the negative associations and beliefs that were acquired through social learning, which can be done through therapy or self-reflection. Fact number 7. The feeling of being out of control is a common feature of many phobias, including insect phobias. When faced with a fear-inducing situation, the individual may feel powerless or unable to influence the outcome, leading to feelings of anxiety and distress. With insects, this lack of control may stem from the fact that they are small, fast-moving, and difficult to predict. It can be challenging to anticipate where an insect will move next or to control their behavior in any meaningful way. Furthermore, insects often appear suddenly and unexpectedly, which can trigger a fear response. This lack of control over the environment can leave individuals feeling vulnerable and anxious. To overcome a fear of insects caused by a lack of control, it may be helpful to develop coping strategies that help to increase feelings of agency and control. This can include educating oneself about different types of insects, learning to recognize signs of insect activity, and developing a plan for how to respond when encountering insects. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can also be an effective treatment for insect phobias. CBT focuses on helping individuals identify and change negative patterns of thought and behavior that contribute to their fear. By learning to challenge irrational beliefs about insects and developing coping strategies to manage feelings of anxiety, individuals can regain a sense of control and reduce their fear of insects. Fact number 8. Entomophobia is a specific phobia that falls under the category of anxiety disorders. It is characterized by an intense and persistent fear of insects that is out of proportion to the actual danger posed by these creatures. People with entomophobia may experience symptoms of anxiety, such as panic attacks, when they encounter insects or even when they think about them. Like other phobias, entomophobia exists on a spectrum, with some individuals experiencing mild discomfort around insects while others have a debilitating and all-consuming fear. For some women, this fear may interfere with daily activities, such as avoiding certain locations or activities where they may encounter insects. Phobias can be treated through various therapies, including exposure therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy. In exposure therapy, individuals are gradually exposed to the object of their fear in a controlled setting, helping them to develop coping strategies and gradually reduce their anxiety response. Cognitive behavioral therapy focuses on identifying and challenging negative thought patterns and beliefs that contribute to the phobia. In severe cases, medication may also be prescribed to help manage symptoms of anxiety. However, medication alone is typically not enough to treat a phobia and should be used in conjunction with therapy. Overall, entomophobia can have a significant impact on a woman's quality of life, but with the right treatment and support, it is possible to overcome this fear and regain control. Fact number 9. Evolutionary psychologists suggest that many human fears and phobias, including the fear of insects, may have evolved as adaptive responses to threats that were commonly encountered by our ancestors. In the case of insects, the fear may have developed as a means of protecting women and their offspring from the potential harm that can be caused by insects. For example, insects can carry diseases and be poisonous, and even small bites or stings can cause significant harm. Women, who historically were the primary caretakers of children, may have evolved a heightened sensitivity to potential threats to the health and survival of themselves and their offspring. This theory is supported by research that has found that women tend to be more risk-averse than men when it comes to potential threats to health and safety. Studies have also found that women are more likely to engage in behaviors that reduce the risk of exposure to infectious diseases, such as washing their hands more frequently and avoiding contact with contaminated objects. While this evolutionary theory may help to explain why women are more likely to fear insects, it is important to note that phobias are complex and can have multiple causes. Other factors, such as learned behaviors and cultural attitudes, may also play a role in the development of insect phobias in women. Fact number 10. Environmental factors can play an important role in shaping our emotional responses to different stimuli, including insects. In particular, the context in which women encounter insects can have a significant impact on their level of fear and anxiety. Research has shown that women are more likely to experience anxiety and fear when they feel that they are in a vulnerable or unpredictable situation. For example, if a woman encounters an insect in a dark alleyway or in an unfamiliar place, she may feel more threatened and thus more likely to experience fear. Similarly, the size and proximity of the insect can also impact a woman's level of fear. Larger insects, such as spiders or cockroaches, are more likely to trigger a fear response than smaller insects like ants or flies. Additionally, if an insect is in close proximity to a woman, she may feel more threatened and thus more likely to experience fear. Finally, the cultural and social context in which insects are encountered can also impact women's fear. For example, if a woman is in a group of people who are all afraid of insects, she may be more likely to experience fear herself. Similarly, if insects are portrayed in a negative or frightening way in popular culture or the media, women may be more likely to internalize those messages and develop a fear of insects. In summary, women's fear of insects can be influenced by a range of factors, including biology, stereotypes, lack of exposure, traumatic experiences, media representations, social learning, lack of control, phobia spectrum, evolutionary survival, and environmental context. Understanding these factors can help individuals and communities develop strategies for reducing fear and anxiety around insects and other common phobias. So there you have it, 10 reasons why women may be afraid of insects. While this fear can be challenging to overcome, it's important to remember that bugs are a natural part of our environment and often play crucial roles in ecosystems. With exposure and education, it's possible to develop a healthier relationship with these fascinating creatures. Thanks for watching.